Today on Northern Revolutions, I'm going to give you a tour of my record room, or as I like to call it, Northern Revolution's World Headquarters. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to Northern Revolutions. I'm Rob. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new. As I mentioned, record room tour time. You're used to seeing my videos where I'm kind of sitting right about here, and that's the view you always get to see. I'm going to take you a tour around here and show you all of the stuff I got in here. Okay, so on the left side of my room, you can see my stereo system here and my record collection. I'm using IKEA Kallax shelves just like most people, but I mean, they look nice, they're affordable, and they perfectly fit records, so big fan of those. You can see that my stereo system sits on top of the IKEA shelving. My Kallaxes are two 4x2 units laid horizontally. I like the look of the big sort of countertop and the nice spread of records. So speaking of my stereo system, I've got a pretty basic system. I'm by no means an audiophile. That's not something that appeals to me. My system is, I guess it's fairly entry level, but it does what I need it to do. It sounds very, very good for this room. I don't need to blow the windows out. Not sure that my wife or neighbors would appreciate that anyway, but it's more than loud enough for the room that I'm in, and it sounds very good, so I'm happy with it. Most of my stereo system was originally my dad's. Growing up in the 90s is when he bought most of this stereo system, and when he passed away, I kept it. So it's a Yamaha natural sound system, although I've added to it and taken away from it and whatever since Dad had it, but it's his original amp. It's a Yamaha AX490 amp. I have no idea if that's a good amp or not, but it does what I need it to do. It has more than enough volume, and the sound quality, to my ears, sounds fine. On top of that, I have my network media streamer. It's a Yamaha as well. I added this just a few years ago, actually. It's probably my favorite piece of audio equipment because I have a pretty substantial digital media library. There's a ton of stuff I have digitally that I don't have on vinyl or CD. So I like to listen to my digital music, and I'd prefer not to do it on my computer. You can use Bluetooth, you can use USB, you can use Wi-Fi, but mine's connected with a Cat 6 cable into my home network, and then it pulls from my network storage drive, which is on my server rack in the next room. And I've got tens upon tens of thousands of songs on there. So I can listen to all that. You can control it using the controls on the front, or there's the Music Cast app that Yamaha makes for smartphones. Makes it a little easier to access the thousands of songs that are on there. So I really enjoy that piece of audio equipment. I've also got a CD player, which was my dad's. It's a Yamaha CDX 390. Pretty basic, one CD. Doesn't do anything fancy, but it doesn't need to. I have a fair amount of CDs, but I don't listen to them a lot anymore. But obviously I still need something to play them on. Then above that is my tuner, which is a Yamaha TX500U. again, fairly basic. I think it probably came out in the mid-90s. It's about the same time as the CD player and amplifier did, but I purchased it probably 10 years ago at a garage sale or something. I don't listen to the radio much except to listen to some Jays games in the summer. I enjoy that on the radio, so that's about it. I don't listen to music on it, but it's good I can sit down here and put on a ball game. And lastly is my turntable. I do have my dad's turntable, but I don't use it. It's stored in a closet somewhere. But this turntable I picked up about 20 years ago almost from a friend of mine for $10. It's a Sony PS11 direct drive table. I guess it's probably from the early 80s, maybe late 70s, I don't know. I really love it. It's high quality in my mind. I've never had an issue with it. It's got a nice heavy aluminum platter on it. I love that it's direct drive. I don't hear any of those vibration issues that people complain about, and I don't have to worry about belts. So for my money, I'm quite happy with it. I've also got a couple pairs of speakers. There are some small bookshelf speakers sitting on the shelf with my stereo. Now, Matt from Prime Analog Records, before you lambaste me about this, I'm not arguing with you about this. Matt likes to roast me about this, but there are small bookshelf speakers there, and I completely understand what Matt says about vibration. I don't have that problem because they're so little and that shelf is so heavy. It doesn't seem to transfer any vibration, and I don't have it loud enough that that's really an issue, and nor are my ears sophisticated enough to pick up on it. So I just like those occasionally if I just want to play something a little quiet, like if the wife's sleeping at night or whatever. They work quite well. And these are mica bookshelf speakers. I got them on Amazon. They're cheap, but they do the trick. And then I've got my floor speakers at the other end of my room. Those are Technics SB T100s. Again, I don't know if that's good or not. They were my dad's from back in the 90s, and they have served me well and continue to do so. So quite happy with them. So underneath my stereo system, you can see all my records. At present, I think I have somewhere around almost 800 albums in my collection stored on those IKEA shelves. The way that these are organized is alphabetical by artist, so A through Z, by last name of the artist. So Clapton, for example, would be under C. The exception to that, of course, though, is that the Beatles come first because, well, they should come first. Within each artist, everything is chronological by release date. So it's relatively easy for me to find things. I don't sort anything by genre, it's purely by artist. Everything is sleeved, obviously, or everything is inner sleeves as well. I did a video about that just recently. But what I really like about this is I have these really nice divider tabs that I got from a vendor on Etsy. I'll leave a link in the description. I've got A through Z, and then I've got some custom tabs for some of the artists where I've got a lot of albums from their discography that sort of warranted their own section. I quite like those. I also have, which you can't see in these photos, but at the back, behind all of my records, there's spacers screwed into the shelves so that the records all sit perfectly level and I don't have to worry about the records sliding back when I'm pushing records in or out. So I really like how these are displayed, and I kind of think it's a showpiece of the room. Okay, so I'll start here. We'll go around the room. I'll save the guitars till the end because I know some folks may not be interested in this. So this is a collection, or part of my collection, of set lists that I've got at various concerts I've been to. This is a band called Whitehorse from Toronto. This is a show they played most recently in Guelph, Ontario. This is a set list from Blue Rodeo's 5 Days in July anniversary tour, where I was on their guest list. I got into that one for free, which was awesome. This is a Jim Cuddy band. Jim's the lead singer of Blue Rodeo. This was a solo show that he did. And this here is Alan Doyle, formerly of the band Great Big Sea. Okay, so above my stereo, I've got a bunch of memorabilia. First is an autographed tour poster from Blue Rodeo, one of my favorite bands from their Small Miracles tour. And this is a set list from a band called Whitehorse, which I've talked about a lot. Great indie folk rock band. It's autographed and a guitar pick from Luke. These are used drumsticks from Glenn Milcham, the drummer for Blue Rodeo. And this here is a tour poster from the Skydiggers from 2012. It's autographed. They're another roots rock band. In between my guitars, I've got a bunch of other frame memorabilia here. So this is Dustin Bentall and Kenneth Carson, two musicians that I love. This is taken outside of the Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto. I took that and they signed it. That's my good friend Bob Egan from Blue Rodeo in Wilco. I took that photograph as well and he signed it for me. This is an autographed press photo from Blue Rodeo from the Nowhere to Here album. And this is an autographed Blue Rodeo set list from a show that I saw at Hamilton Place in Hamilton, Ontario. And yes, this is an autographed Taylor Swift picture. No, I have not met her, but yes, it is authentic. And this here is handwritten autographed lyrics for the song Bonnie Raitt from one of my favorite recording artists, Adam Baldwin. In between my Telecasters, I've got a bunch of autographed CDs. The first of which, yes, is another Taylor Swift autograph. It's Lover. I ordered that off of her website. This is Bryan Adams' Shine a Light. This is autographed. It came from Amazon UK, did a run of those. My fantasy wife, Suzanne Hoff from the Bangles. This is Sweethearts of the Sun. Taylor Swift's Folklore, autographed again, came from her website. And this is the single Aw Mary from Grace Potter and the Nocturnals. This was the original lineup of the band. This is my desk where all the magic happens. This is where I edit all my videos. This is where I do my live streams. This is also where I work for a living. So that's where you see all of the fun editing happening. So beside my desk, on my wall, I've got a bunch of framed LPs. I've got more autographed albums in my collection, but these are the ones I just decided to hang. So I've got Fleetwood Mac's self-titled, signed by Mick, Lindsay, and John. Blue Rodeo's Days in Between, signed by the entire band. My only Beatles autograph, Pete Best, the Bangles, signed by the original lineup. Grace Potter, my Robbie Robertson autograph, Blue Rodeo's Are You Ready? And then the Best of the Beach Boys, signed by Mike Love and Al Jardine. Beside my desk is my couch, or my listening area as I like to call it. It's where I sit and listen to records. Beside my couch, I have a Ghostbusters Proton pack. Yep, I do. I built it. It's 100% screen accurate. I'm a nerd. A couple music pictures from Cuff the Duke. This is a country rock band from Toronto. I took that photograph and they signed it, and that's a promotional poster for their album Way Down Here. Above my couch are a couple acoustic guitars, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. And there's my degree from school. Not that anyone cares. I have an honors degree in American history, even though I'm Canadian. And there's a giant Millennium Falcon, because every music room needs one. In the corner, I've got my bookshelf, which has my CD collection on it, and a bunch of other nerdy stuff. Bobbleheads, Star Wars glasses from Burger King from back in the early 80s. My Hasbro Ghostbusters, all my Walking Dead stuff, World War I and II medals from my grandfather and great-grandfather, my CD collection, prop replica lightsabers, Beatles Yellow Submarine Lego. I mean, it's exactly what you would want to see in a music room. And then here's my dad. I've talked about my dad a lot. His name is also Robert. Miss him dearly. He's the man that is responsible, I think, for all of this. And that brings us back to the door from which we entered Northern Revolution's World Headquarters. That's the door into my family room, which I apologize is a mess, but I have an 8-year-old son, so what are you going to do? Either side of my door are my speakers, which I mentioned earlier. And over in the corner, I have my little, I'll call it my little baseball museum. And you can see there that I have a stadium seat and I have a jersey. That jersey is a game-worn jersey that was worn by Ryan Goins, who played second base for the Toronto Blue Jays from 2012 to about 2017 or 2018. I bought it from the team. It's authenticated. And then I have my stadium seat, the Rogers Center, formerly the Sky Dome in Toronto where the Blue Jays play. That's a seat from the 500 level in the outfield. They're in the midst of doing a massive billion-dollar renovation in 2 phases, and all the seats in the stadium have been replaced. Almost all of them went straight to the landfill, but I know a guy, so I was able to get a seat, and that's my little piece of history, much to my wife's chagrin. Okay, first up is my 1999 Mexican Fender Strat, the first real electric guitar I ever owned. It's Midnight Burgundy. I love it. I've swapped all the electronics out over the years, and it's a beast now. This is a guitar that I built. It's a neck and body from Warmouth. It's my Les Paul. I painted and lacquered and stained it and cleared it and put my own logo on it and did all the wiring. This is my 1986 American Fender Strat, even though the next dated 83. It is an 86. It's the first year it came out of the plant in Corona, California. Love this guitar. This is my Epiphone ES335. I love the sound of the ES335s, but can't afford the price of a Gibson, so an Epiphone will do. Another guitar that I built, this is my Fender Jazzmaster. It's mine. It's another neck and body from Warmouth, where I did all the painting and assembly and wiring. It's got my name on the headstock as opposed to Fender's, and Lawler pickups. This is my 72 Telecaster Deluxe, again, that I built, and relics. Got Lawler wide range humbuckers in there. Probably my favorite builds of all my guitars. This is my newest build. This is it's a Mexican neck, but it's a body that was built by a friend of mine. It's another 72 Deluxe, but it's got Lawlertron pickups. Body built by the same friend of mine. This is a Walnut Esquire, so a single pickup Telecaster. It's a Warmouth neck that I finished. Again, it's got my name in it. It's got Lawler pickups in it. This is my 2000 52 reissue Mexican Tele. This was the second real guitar that I ever owned, and I probably played this more than anything else. And my pride and joy, my 1978 Fender Telecaster. I have loved this guitar since I first bought it 15 years ago. I would run into a burning building to save it. This is a California series Tele. They only made these for 1 year. They were built in the US, painted in the Fender Mexico factory, and assembled in the US, so it's kind of a hybrid. They're an awesome guitar. So my first ever build, this is a spalted maple body Telecaster from a company in Quebec called Spalt King Guitars. It's a Warmouth neck, and I painted it and lacquered it and all that stuff. My acoustics, just a Yamaha and a Fender. I don't play acoustic very much, but it's still nice to have them. There you have it, folks. You've seen all there is to see at Northern Revolution's world headquarters. I hope you found that fun. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Catch you on the flip side.